Hello, everybody. We are live. Normally, we have a countdown. Usually, I have like a 2-minute countdown or at least a 30-second countdown. But if you are joining me, hopefully you're just joining me from the live stream that I just left. We were testing Anthropic. What was I testing? Artifacts for the first time and bringing the generated code, an entire workflow of an application into VS Code from Artifacts. So like I said at the end of that live stream, we are doing a full context switch and ditching AWS, ditching Claude, maybe. And now we are going to be working with Launch Darkly and Cloudflare workers. So with me today is Erin Mikail Staples. I'm getting better at pronouncing names. Did I say it right?
You said it right, 100%.
Excellent. So welcome to the stream. Very happy to have you here. And we've been in communication, I feel like, for a while. So I'm glad that we're actually finally here in front of everybody.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me. It's always fun. I was kind of tuning into bits and pieces of the previous stream in the background. So it's kind of fun. We can do some stuff. Probably maybe whip out some AI. I've been like, that's been my secret. I hate doing styling with a passion. So like ChatGPT, when ChatGPT was like, I was like, whoa, you can write CSS style sheets and not screw them up. Amazing. Great. You are doing all of mine from here on out because I don't want to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, same. I was just doing that yesterday, in fact, and even in like very specific types of style sheets as well.
Yeah. Or like, it's like, I swear I did it. It's working. Please go find the stinking tag that this is attached to. Like, just go find it for me, robots. Like, do that kind of work for me.
That's right. Can do it faster than I could ever hope to. Okay, so before we get into it today, Erin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you work for, and what you do there?
Totally. So my name is Erin Mikail Staples. I am by day a developer experience engineer at Launch Darkly. So if you've read our tutorials, if you've played around with kind of our starter stuff or walked through some of the couple demo apps that we have, likely you've touched it, or if you've caught up with me at reInvent last year, we did, I was the person they gave a microphone to on purpose, which is dangerous. I don't know who decided that call, but whatever. I guess I'm still around and prepping for the next reInvent, so we're still going. Right. And then on the side, I do stand-up comedy. So I actually do have a residency here in New York City and have some fun with that.
I did not know that. We are going to have a lot of fun for the next hour to however long it takes. Excellent. I don't do stand-up comedy, but I routinely walk around my farm and look at things that I find funny and play out bits that I would do if I did stand-up comedy in my head.
That's the first step. That is the first step. Next thing you know, it's like if you're enough of a masochist, which I feel like if you're a live coding person, you're like enough of a masochist to be like, I'm comfortable failing in front of people. And the thing they always tell you when like you do stand-up comedy is the first step is like being comfortable with being punched in the face in front of others. You're good.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
It's like the it's a very casual version of it, but it's like punch in the face like in a way that like you love it. It's like masochistic a little bit.
I don't think I'm ready for that.
It's totally okay.
Okay. So Erin, what are we going to be building today?
Cool. Today we're going to be, I'm a big fan of fans and fan pages. And that was like my early start on the internet was building like MySpace pages, or like my live journal looked great. My Tumblr pages looked great. I was all about that. And so I love reality TV show. That's like my unabashed nerdy love of the world. I actually do maintain an awesome list of pop culture data sets. So if you need them, have a great time. It's got anything from Beyonce to TV shows to Animal Crossing to board games. So get weird. Go build something fun. I've just dropped it in the chat as well. Or I think you might have to like help me out with that one. We drop it in the private chat for you so you have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have been watching the latest season of Naked and Afraid. A couple years ago, I was building demos of Naked and Afraid just to get better at improving those data set skills and whatnot. So I've started building a Naked and Afraid fan page. And then I figured today we'd add some feature toggles and turn it on and off because why not?
I love that so much. It's been so long since I've seen that show, but I will never forget it. Really, that show has a hook. I'll tell you what.
It does.
That,
It does. And
love it.
so I have already gotten it up and deployed on Cloudflare workers. Let me just pull up my Cloudflare workers page. Let's see. It is, you'll see how beautiful this web page is right now. It is a gorgeous, beautiful page. It's currently already deployed. Dropping that again in that private chat, but I'll also share here so you can see.
Yeah, bring that up and we'll share it for everybody. But if you want to follow along at home, there you go. And then here it
there you
is.
go. It is, you can see it is very not beautiful right now. I literally was like, make a Naked and Afraid fan page. I asked ChatGPT, I was like, what would you put on the homepage of a Naked and Afraid fan page? Like getting that starter one, and I figured we'd build the version that will feature toggle onto. So using Launch Darkly to build that feature flag. This is a Next.js setup. Pretty just very basic introductory here, but it's got the basics. We've also got a data set in here that has data from episodes, like the survival, the country they're in, how many days they make it. But totally, this is just, and then obviously survival tips. Prioritize finding water. I feel like they need to have one of like, don't eat the poisonous snake. I feel like there's always someone who's like, I ate the snake and it was poisonous and now I'm getting medevaced out, which is like probably not helpful. But
Andres had a comment on here, and I know I can relate. This is pretty much the style that every backend engineer has ever built if they're asked to create a web page.
yeah, pretty much. That's probably why I built it like this, because I don't like doing the front end stuff as much either. I'm usually like, ooh, let's make this happen. I think let's get going. So
Yep,
I'm gonna go ahead and swap my screen. We'll pop open my let's pop open my code editor here. Let's see.
So
Wow,
you said
how many
that web
different
page was built in Next, is that right?
Yep, this is built in Next. We are just kind of jamming there. And
Okay,
I'm gonna
and
just
where
go
is the Next
ahead.
app hosted? So that it's
It's
hosted in.
I'm this is deployed on Cloudflare currently. So
Okay, so the
we'll go
workers
there.
are serving the Next app?
Yep, they're serving that Next app. I'm gonna grab the project, so if you really want to follow along and play around with it. Oh, looks like I did not push my change up. Push this up real quick.
I'm glad that you're going to be at reInvent. Launch Darkly always has the coolest booth at the expo. Remember last
We
year?
had a lot of fun. We had the toggle tunes. So you probably did see the toggle tunes fun there that we had going on. All
I don't
right.
actually know what that is. I remember, I
We
think it
did
was last year where it was like a mirror room or something, and you had to run through the mirror room.
Oh, that was a different one. That was not, I think it was the year before.
That was 2 years ago.
This
Oh,
year we
okay.
had like this year we had the I want talk. This is the hardest part of live streaming code. I'm always like, what is the stuff going? All right, there we go.
All right, bring it up.
And some
All right, can
bring it up.
you
Magic
zoom in
happening.
one tick for us?
Yeah. Oh, we had a delay in the ticks. All right.
There we go. Perfect.
There we go. But yeah, this is, we've got, trying to take its time. My internet is like, now I'm getting the internet warning. But yeah, pretty much. So we've got, here's our beautiful little workers. It's going to shove everything up there. You can see all of the arrows from NPM being like, please update it. And I'm doing the responsible thing and ignoring it. Like every good person. It's like, press till tomorrow, deal with it later. But yeah, just the next app. I did not use Vite, or I think there's like Create Next App. There's a couple of those builders, but did not use that for the sake of today. In here, you'll also see this beautiful Naked and Afraid episodes here, which is just a data set. You can find that on the awesome list that I shared. So if you really want to get weird, it shares, it's got just like ID, season ID, what number of the episode it is. And what we'll need to do is actually bring this into our main page. So we've got our, just the, here's where you see all the beautiful fun of the main page. We'll need to actually bring this in. So it's not just displaying like, here's some random stuff. It's like latest episodes, and it's not quite porting in these episodes correctly. So we'll have to figure out what's going on here, maybe update some survival tips and make it look a little better than it does with some feature flags. So,
all right, let's do it.
So I think first off, we probably like, I don't know if anybody, for those of you tuning in, do you have any preference? Do we want to start making it look pretty, or should we actually get the data going? Like, I feel like there's two different ways we could approach this.
The majority of our audience is backend engineers.
Oh, so we're all going to be great. So we can make this, because I'm like, so we're all going to be cool if I'm like, let's just make CSS styling happen by the internet of ChatGPT or Anthropic or whatever. Choose your model here of choice.
Right. Yep.
So let's go ahead and hang out with that fun. And then do you want to, I mean, I can also give you a sharing if you want to use the VS Code Go Live.
Yes, please. Let's do that. Send me something in our private chat and I'll get in there and rip it up in a good way.
Perfect. I mean, that's the best part, right? I feel like the sharing, no, not close that. I always space how to do that. Here's, I don't want that one. That's the local one. The damn name of that extension. So when I don't use it that often, you're like, ooh. It's like share, live share. Here we go. To use it. How do we start this dang thing? Live share. There we go. Okay. That's not it. Let me quickly pull up.
All right, for anyone just tuning in while we get this going, I am here with Erin Mikail Staples, and we are updating a Naked and Afraid fan website using Launch Darkly for feature flags. And we're about to get in a live coding share in VS Code. So this is proof that we know that Erin doesn't know me because she's trusting me to make changes on her machine. So
I'm having a great time. Honestly, go blow up this app. I have a great time. So let me know.
All right.
All right. So you should let me know if you've got that. We can jump in. Okay. I always experience a little bit of a lag with it. Let's see.
It's going. It says it's going. It says I'm joining right now.
Perfect. I always kind of think there's a lag a little bit to it. So
what's the first step while this is loading? What are we going to be doing first?
Perfect. Accept, read, write. Let's go. I think let's definitely probably get our actual data into here. So right now I'm using just like use effect. It's going to fetch the episodes. It's attempting to fetch them from the CSV, which I honestly think it might be a path issue that it's not pulling correctly.
Here you go.
So it's, yep. So I think just updating that. Let's see if this works. It should response get reader. All right, it should parse that correctly. This is when I'm like, I prefer Python for this stuff. All right, let's save and let's redeploy this and see if it'll work. I don't want to re-update this. If we open up Cloudflare, this is when I was irresponsible and I had everything open and then I did the thing where you close everything out.
Ah, yes.
It's like, I'm going to prep for this live stream. Close everything out. This is great. Cloudflare is like, you're not logged in. Come on, I'm logged in. There we go.
So Jonathan asked a question. He said, what's the first fan site you ever made?
Oh, I love this question. Probably Lily Allen or Shania Twain. or the Dixie Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks.
Now, quick follow-on question to that. What year was that?
2005, 2006, I guess.
Seems about right.
Seems about right. Checks out.
Yeah.
Era of MySpace and fan pages. Getting on the internet and getting in trouble with my parents all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, by the way. I'm taking a tangent. This is what we're gonna tangent on this, but if you guys actually seen the Cloudflare backend, yeah, Lily Allen is the callback, and she was like one of the original like queens of MySpace. So
was she really?
Yeah, it was like she had like the big, like everybody's on MySpace, everybody's rocking and rolling and doing fun stuff. But yeah, we can see where it's actually like mentioned in her biography of like that was, I don't want to say that's how she's discovered because she's kind of like a nepo baby, but like it was very real. But if you haven't used Cloudflare Workers, this is kind of what it looks like on the back end for like the application side of things. And it has just the different requests. You can see like I shipped this up this morning. We're playing around this morning. I was like, does this work? Great. Awesome. Let's go.
That's fast.
Yeah, and gets up. And it's really nice. Like once you get started and put it up for the first time, you can also check like, it's like if you have any logs here, when all the version histories happened, and if you had any other integrations you wanted to put in here. I actually have not used the integrations.
There at the top.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, that checks out. I actually have not used any of the integrations yet. So I will say that's an area to growth, but all that good fun stuff. But
they're pretty slick. I'm very impressed at how Cloudflare has managed to do those integrations. In a lot of the situations, the ones that have like three-legged auth, they handle everything for you. So you can say integrate, it'll take you to the website, you'll create your API key or whatever you need, and then it'll bring you straight back and it will automatically store that environment variables for you inside of the worker. And it just kind of works.
I love. I need to actually play with that more. I will admit. All right, it's not letting me commit right now. It's just like internet. It's like, so you're doing too much. So we're gonna rock and roll locally. But so I'm gonna just quickly build this locally. Oh, did it say that's not sharing my screen? It says host denied screen sharing.
Oh, did me?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Getting a. There we go.
Try again.
Try again. We're going. All right.
And we're back. There we go. Perfect.
I'm just gonna rebuild this.
What's that cat down there? Why do you have a cat?
It's the VS Code pets. You gotta have some fun in your terminal, right?
What? What?
Yeah, you can get different pets too.
What?
So you can spawn like a horse.
Bring a chicken, please.
Oh yeah, hold on. Tiny Horse Jr. Great. This is perfect. There's a pony now, and if you hover, they have emojis. This is what we're doing while our page is building. You know, very important stuff here. Amazing.
And this is how my live streams changed forever.
Yeah, you are. They have so you can click here. Oh my goodness, my internet. Come on, let's go. See, and they make friends with each other. They just like had some fun in the stream.
What?
See, you didn't know you needed the VS Code pet extension.
I didn't. No, I
now you're like, we need the VS Code pet extension. I'm excited to see the next time I tune into this screen that it's going to be how many, like, you can't add them apparently from global. You can only add them from the click. Okay, load. We get a chicken in here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but they stop and you hover. Yeah, it's great. If you didn't know that you needed something, it's great. All right.
What a happy day.
We are having fun. So we're going to rock and roll. We've got our local fun happening here.
Okay,
It's
so
going to
what
minimize
I have
everything.
been completely derailed by the pets thing, installing it in my VS Code. What are we what are we doing right now?
I thought we were gonna. Well, I was gonna connect the data and then build a nice little front end for this, so it's not a standard backend person's website as you
Okay.
see here.
Okay. And then what are we going to be doing? What's the first thing we're going to do with Launch Darkly?
So I'm
Let's put
thinking
it
we
on
probably should put
Darkly.
this on the. Let's put a launch darkly on it so we can see the front end, because like if I'm thinking about where I'm going to mess up, it is likely going to be the front end. So we're going to add a feature flag that actually turns on and off our beautiful styles. So I'm just setting it up here so we can
Okay.
see. It's going to be compiling, and I'm going to switch the screen share here so you can actually see everything rather than just the code window. So if we're live here and sharing, let's see, 2 monitors.
So the scenario here is I am a solo dev. I'm updating my fan site that has thousands and thousands of users, but I'm doing it live right now. I don't want to take everybody down as I'm experimenting as I code in production. So I'm putting all of my changes in or behind a feature flag so I can toggle them on and off for the site.
Exactly.
Cool.
So one thing we'll also need to do is I actually think I did the really great thing where you'll notice I don't even have Launch Darkly installed on this. So because we're using, you can use like the JavaScript SDK, or we'll have to like actually get that installed on here. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull up just in case you're interested. If you want to go to, we can zoom in. It is clicked on the wrong monitor here. But we'll navigate. Let's go to our docs, launchdarkly.com. Shout out to the beautiful docs team. And we'll need to get the right SDK. So if we're following SDKs, I'm usually like a JavaScript SDK person, or we can use the React SDK for it. I kind of just think that the JavaScript SDK honestly works if you really wanted to get weird with it. But here's everything if you actually want to go through and read it and install it. But the first thing
Does the
obviously is
React
we'll
one
need to.
have components in it or something, like pre-built components? Is that the major difference between the JavaScript one?
The biggest one is like, I do believe I'm like on the React Native one. I do know it's slightly different, but that's for like streaming devices or real-time streaming.
Yep.
Tangent, I'm now watching and it's like, oh, finally I've decided to wake up and ask you if you want a chicken, which I now have to click, and it does want it to be named Chuck Norris. So there's your chicken.
Ah.
We had a little bit of a delay there, I guess, the internet.
Yep. All right, I was going to
The
ask you to zoom in
biggest
for the code. Now I want you to zoom in just for the chicken.
for the chicken. All right. I don't know. Did it add?
I don't see it yet.
Oh, dang it. Don't see it. Where is it? Usually like bloops in.
Well, while we wait for that, would you mind actually zooming into the code?
Yeah,
There it is.
there it is. And so we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and install our, oh my goodness, the lag on this today. It's driving me bonkadoo. There's our chicken. We now have our beautiful chicken. I think that if we want to zoom in even further, I can.
I just added a chicken on mine, and its name is Sir Clucks-a-Lot.
I love that. I've got Chuck Norris here. Love. And so I'm going to go ahead and shut down our local version of this. Come on, kill the terminal. There we go. All right, so in the right folder, we are dealing with a lag today on this stream, but we are rocking anyway.
Right.
And we're gonna go ahead and install it. We can do the React one. I want to say like the biggest one is just like the React Native does have streaming. Off the top of my head, it's a lot of the similar stuff. They are making it. It says optional chaining. If you're doing chaining and transplanting, so you're kind of more of those very detailed in the weeds React materials, it's going to help out. But I do believe I personally just use the JavaScript SDK. I find that pretty helpful. I haven't had an issue with it. It's kind of the React one is built off of the JavaScript one. We don't quite have type safe dependencies on it. So that's kind of one of the downsides right now, is just type safe is hard. And my camera has now gone off. What? What did I do today to earn the tick? The screen looks great, but we're just rocking with it. All right. You know what? As long as the audio works, I guess we're just rocking in. But yeah, it's as we adjust this, there we go. Okay, thank you, technology. Apparently wiping magnets on my computer today. But a lot of it is, it does have the hooks. That is the one that it does use. If you're using a lot of the hooks or the app, what is it? The app router, it does help out with that. So it does have that in there. So I'm reading the hooks. This is what happens when I'm like, oh yes, I use hooks, but I'm usually not using hooks for flags. Typically, like I'll usually wrap it right in that like index file or that primary file. So that's just a personal styling case, but I can definitely see that if you're doing a lot of like component work or you're building something that has a lot of those like actively updating hooks and you want to test something there without worrying if it's going to crash, using the React SDK would definitely be the way to go.
Got it. Erin, real quick, I think it might be the live sharing session that's open that's killing the internet. I dropped out anyway, so
okay.
we can probably just stop that.
Perfect. Hey, come on. Live share. Let's see. Yeah, it is. That is really taking its sweet time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Trying to see if it's down in the taskbar at all, but I don't see it.
Yeah. Usually it's down there. Like usually it's they yell at you down there for it. So it shows you how often I use my live share.
It's a cool feature.
It's a cool feature when it's working.
Yeah,
when it's working. I also think my husband just jumped on a call as well because work from home life. So I think that we've got another. Yes, we've got the session. It says left the live share session. All right. Well, I'm just gonna ignore it. That's what we're gonna do. The responsible thing and ignore.
Oh, there it is. Right above VS Code pets, it says live share. We might be able to kill it from
there.
there.
Just disable there.
Maybe.
I feel like I've got like a 30-second delay on what I actually am doing. Maybe. Let's go.
While we wait for that, Erin, does LaunchDarkly do anything besides feature flags, or is that it? It's the sole focus.
So I like to think about it when I tell people like, what does LaunchDarkly do? I think about it, it's like the entire feature management, and that goes beyond feature flags. So that's experimentation. We're now doing AI flags. So people are we have an AI flag, which you can, if you're wanting to change your tokens or your prompts or any of those sort of details, or even the model that you're using, you can do that all within a dynamic configuration within LaunchDarkly rather than having like a static config file or having to recommit that every time, which is really nice. Experimentation, we have Release Guardian, which is a newer feature of ours. So if you get an error in the middle of the night, and we've all gotten that page where you're like, oh crap, I have to get out of bed and solve this problem and update that. And it looks like we've now been fixed. What you can do is Release Guardian will detect that change or that risk within the observability, like within whatever platform you're using, whether it's a Sentry or a Datadog or whatever. You can import that into LaunchDarkly and it'll automatically roll back when it senses that change. So it's keeping you safe and preventing you from waking up at 2 a.m. in a panic.
Anything that can do that, I'm pretty happy with.
Right? I'm like okay, anything that gets me out of that, anything that stops my crises in the middle of the night, anything that kind of causes chaos or prevents my chaos. We should not say causes chaos. We know that I am chaos. So anything that prevents my chaos from creating a disruption, that's more power to me, right? Like that's what we're going for.
Okay.
So pop it in here. We're in our beautiful folder. We're going to go ahead, npm install launch darkly JavaScript SDK, and it's going to be just a JS client SDK. And it's going to run, and it's going to tell me I didn't have the right one because I did not. Let's see if I can get it. So what happens when we do it from memory?
Had to have been close.
Close. npm install. What did I miss? There we go. Probably had a typo or something. Anywho, we're in. We're also going to now need to initialize it in the top. So if we go from, this is just my index file, I'm going to have to need to call that and tell it like, yo, recognize that we do have Launch Darkly in this now. You're getting that nice, beautiful thing. And you'll see if we have what it sort of looks like, depending on if you're using a TypeScript import or kind of doing whatever. It's like, here's kind of what it's going to look like. It'll always be like the constant LD client, and it's going to tell you actually require this, bring this in, import. Doing a lot of, I was back in the Python space this morning, so it was a lot of import. You're looking for this LD client update. So bringing it up at the top. I'm going to go ahead, requiring that. And then we'll have, as we can see, we've got our function that's putting our beautiful episodes here, our beautiful title, very creative with my title name. We'll go ahead and we'll need to initialize this. So this is always something that we do see people either getting stuck on for the first time or getting a little like intimidated for the first time. We actually have seen this happen. And I think even when I started, like I was a 2-time customer of Launch Darkly before I even joined, but I think that one gives you the curse of knowledge a little bit when you're joining. I'm actually really proud of the team that's built this. We have an entirely new quick start that's gotten folks so it does this work for you. So it helps you get started even faster and breaks down like what the heck this actually means, rather than just being like, this is what it is, this is what it's doing, rather than kind of like that docs page to it. So if we open up, let me just create like a new, you go to app.launchdarkly.com. And then this is something I'd actually love this would be super helpful if the team, like, if you have any feedback on this as we get going, would be awesome to have. We're going to go ahead and pretend to sign up for a new account. And I'll show you this really cool quick start we're doing. Erin is testing at launchdarkly.com.
This page for the sign up looks identical to the one that I just did on Friday with Elastic Serverless, like the exact same. Just replace Launch Darkly with Elastic logo. But it's so easy. It's super easy, and it's very clear on what you're doing.
And so I also think like if you're new, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to sign up. It's going to be like, go to your email. And we'll do the super fun secret stuff within the off-screen magic window.
Of course.
No secrets leaked today. My security team will not be mad at me today. If you're watching, Alex, I'm being responsible. I'm going to verify that email. And of course, it's going to open in a different tab because that would be too smart. And it's going to tell me, look, you can join all these cool organizations because I use my work email for this. But I'm going to be like, we're going to make a new trial account.
All right.
Let's go, team.
A little bit on this. Thank you.
Right. And so this is, if you've created a Launch Darkly account within like the last month, you will see this is kind of what it looks like. This is what the fun is. We have now a quick start flag. So you can even just get started right within a CLI, which is like a new tool that we've just come out with. It's very great if you are someone who likes to stay within the CLI. Also, I think it helps a lot when you're bouncing between your code base and you're like, ah, crap, I need to get this SDK key. Very easy. You can also just start if you've already got flags in, you can go ahead and import them in. So not having to worry, but we're going to go for the quick start guide. Cool feature, not sample feature. Let's make cool feature. It'll tell you like, what do you want to be doing this in? Are you doing React? Are you doing Next? I'm going to go ahead. Even has like different ones depending on like where you're going at. So again, our client side, our server side ones. I am mostly a JavaScript Python person, so that's where I spend most of my time. And typically it's the next or node is usually where I'm bouncing my time in. So let's just go ahead, take this beautiful one, and it'll even tell you like, give you a nice little sample project. It has a code set up here and it walks you through that, but it'll also even tell you like how this evaluates. So we can even try this out if we want to, or we can just skip ahead and putting this in our cool little fandom app. But what we can see here is if we were to do this, I'm just going to cheat and grab where our actual like important parts are. Is we've got like, as you can see, our cheater like client side ID is right there, which is where you'd see that's your SDK key, or we call it a client side. It's not an SDK key. It is that client side ID, but it's found right next to that SDK key. Our flag key, which determines what feature flag you're turning on and off, and then our context. So I don't know if you've used LaunchDarkly before, you're either familiar with it, or it's like if you've used LaunchDarkly and you haven't updated in a while, like last year we switched from users to context, which is a big change. And the reason behind that was to target beyond just like an individual one-off computer. It was very much targeting more of, I want to bring in, like we have a segment integration. So if you bring in a tool from Segment, you can do that. If you are bringing in data from any other like business intelligence tool that you've got out there, I'm trying to think of the other big ones. Clearbit was one we used at a former company that I remember. But yeah, that's kind of where you can start either importing in context or using a different context and so on and so forth. And then you'll go ahead and you'll see our beautiful initializing right here where it brings in our initialization. And then we have our different variations based on flag keys. So any questions? I know I kind of powered through that. I know different aspects
of that. I love it. This is just, I mean, it's just JavaScript, and it's a quick start that actually works. It imports the JavaScript client via a script, which is just, I assume, out there in some CDN. And then it's about as simple as it gets. I love it.
Yeah. So we can go ahead and then as we continue, we can even toggle, and this will directly, you'll see what that application does. So it'll kind of run and check that to be, is this true or not? So now we've done that, we can go ahead and just like start rocking and rolling and flagging. So it'll then dump you in and you'll see that that feature flag is already created. So just because we did not hook this up to anything, this was just a fun little tester. This is not going to be hooked up to anything, but we should probably have these secrets in and update this within our application as well. So we'll go ahead, we'll create a new environment. It's going to create us in this new project, but we'll create a new project for the sake of today. Go into projects, create a project. Cool front end.
I like it. It's descriptive. I know exactly what it is by that name.
Very descriptive, very explicit, very descriptive, very rocking and rolling on this. We're going to go back over to our beautiful Naked and Afraid website and ignore this anymore. And we're going to start slapping a front end on this and making it way cooler than it looks now. So as we're bouncing in here, we've got just our pages. I don't even know if I have a CSS file in here because that's very on brand for me to just kind of shove it in and be like, it works, let's go. So that is, yeah, here, it's like CSS is watch. This probably has nothing in it. Called it. Because I usually do this last because I hate doing it. I feel like we should probably get something way cooler than our existing CSS file and then turn that on using a feature flag. And I know it looks like we're coming up on time. Wow, how do these times always fly by? So let's chat this. We'll create a CSS file from our beautiful thing. I actually created this, which is, we're going to go on a brief tangent here. So part of my job is I make tutorials for the LaunchDarkly website. And one of the repeat mistakes I would make is because I'd been a user of LaunchDarkly or because I had done something before, I would forget those steps that I'd be like, oh yes, I know how to do this. And someone who had not used feature flags for feature management before wouldn't have that. So I created I'm using Cody by SourceGraph, and it's just a prompt that says walk through LaunchDarkly, and it is a prompt that literally walks you through this as someone who has, so I'll build an application, I'll implement it, and I'll be like, explain the LaunchDarkly integration to me from 0 to 1. And it's like a reverse
Okay,
engineering
sweet. Yeah.
to make sure that I'm doing it, which has been a fun, you don't realize how much stuff that you just kind of do and you're like, oh crap, like, does this make sense? Like it makes sense in my brain, but does someone else not make sense? So anyhow, let's pop in our index page. There we go. Create a style sheet for a terrifyingly awesome reality TV show fan page. Additionally, let's see. Let's see if it'll pick it up. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Additionally, bring it in to our application and enable this style sheet in the index file via feature flag. Let's see, LaunchDarkly JavaScript feature flag. Okay, let's see what it gives us. A few typos, but you should be able to pick it up. Come on.
What extension is this?
This is the Cody by SourceGraph.
Cody by Source.
And
okay.
So I've been using them since they were in beta. I think out of all the like code editors, code assistants, it's probably my favorite, but I think it's because I can use like Olama or Claude, or you can switch out those models, or you can set up those like predefined workflows. Like I use it again for calling out like things for tutorials. Like it's very helpful. Or for today, I'm like, wow, let's see what it calls. I'll create a terrifying, awesome style sheet for the naked and afraid, show you how to bring it in and then enable it. Let's get started. Awesome. Great. So
I like how it's using
we're going to create
it. Font.
I know. I'm like, I don't even know if I can tell you what that looks like off the top of my head, but we're going to go for it.
So I'm going to guess it went for terrifying, not terrifyingly awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just going to see. I like how we said no AI. Well, we're doing AI because it's style sheets and I don't want to write them myself. So we're going to cheat.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm going to go ahead. 2024, unless you like, if someone else wants to volunteer and write all my style sheets for me, then by all means, have at it. Have at it. Like, but I mean, I do think there's the conversation about AI. And I was actually talking about this with Ricky Robinette of Cloudflare last night, is like there's a real thing. It's like you still have to know the basics. Like you still have to know how things run. You still have to know where it comes together. Otherwise, like AI is not going to help you in everything. I wish it would. There's a running joke here that like the worst case that you could do is like then you would be like beach, right? Like what if AI did take all of our jobs? Like, are we really mad that we're going to all be on the beach together?
Nope.
No. Nope. We're all going to the beach. All right, so here's what it says we should do. Now let's modify it to include the LaunchDarkly feature and conditionally apply the new style. So all right, let's go. Index here. Great, amazing. Awesome. So it's just basically updated my great, very explore the wild, wild world of survival awesomeness that I've got here. Let's see, and it's imported the components, wrapped it with LD provider, got it. It's using the use flags hook, amazing. Make sure to replace this with your client side ID here. I've already got an environment file. I'm pretty sure that I set up an environment file because I have it deployed on Cloudflare. So I should have done that in my, apparently I didn't, but you can go ahead and do that. We've got our beautiful client side ID. I'm going to go ahead and cheat for the sake of time, popping this in. I'm going to delete these IDs afterwards. So if you steal it, then don't. I'll delete these keys after this. Let's build this. And build failed because of Webpack actors. Oh, it's not. I didn't install. It's pulling from the React one. So this is the downside of AI when I'm like, I used the JavaScript one and it's wanting to use the React one.
There are worse things that it could have done.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, not mad about it. Like, okay, fine, take the React one if you want it. But that does make sense if it's using a hook.
Yeah.
Build this. Let me see what we're doing. It's gonna check a time. It's gonna go. It is running slow on here. All right, great, amazing. Let's see what we've got. And you'll notice I don't even think we set up our feature flag. So did it give me a feature flag name? I didn't even check for that. I was just kind of going. Let's see.
It had one of the
things.
Logics, yeah.
And so
flags enable terrifying styles on line 28.
Yeah, scroll right past it. There we go. Oh, yes. Amazing. I love that we called it that. What are they calling it? Is that the... I want to see. I want to make sure I've got everything else. It's a little weird that they're down there. Great. So now we're going to have to go back in, make a feature flag. I like to just, this is another cool thing that we just did is like you can now force flag key conventions in your settings.
Oh, nice.
Or even like prequels. Like if you're like, hey, everybody's like prefix, like that's the other cool thing if you're building like a ton of flags. Like the place that I came from, we would do a flag for, we had like major release and minor releases. So it would always be like assigned with that. But then you'd get the one person who would name it something different. And I don't know if you're someone like me who gets like, you named the flag, it's the wrong thing. It's always just important to like make sure that we're following the right thing, which knowing this, I probably now, I'm going to create a flag. I'm going to go ahead. It's got that nice little docs here. Enable terrifying styles. Enables the awesomely terrifying styles. Great. And do a release flag. Obviously, there's a ton of different types you can do. So many folks like the release size kind of seems to be like the standard option for all of them. If you're like, I really want to get started with a release, you can also do a custom flag, a kill switch flag, an experimentation type of flag, a migration flag if you want to move through different stages. We even have AI flags that are currently in like a beta. So if you want to go play around with that, we've got that as well. And then again, our different flag types. For the flag is temporary, like that's when I think about like turning on a new feature. I think this is something that's really gets very easy to be confused if like a flag is temporary or not. But when we say temporary, it means like you're testing something out. Maybe this is like a beta feature. We're going to probably roll this out, but it's always just going to be false at start. And then you're going to slowly move it to being turned on to everybody. So later when you do update or do re-release, you can kind of clean that up. But for the sake of today, no, this isn't temporary. We're going to make a beautiful release flag always. Turning on our variations to be cool front end, uncool front end. Very great stuff here. When we have our targeting, and again, if we want to target a specific audience for, to make sure that everybody can access that. And then again, because we're using JavaScript, we're playing around on that client side, checking that client side ID. Create flag. Get our local tab up.
This is usually the point in a live coding session where I would say something like, all right, guaranteed success we're about to see.
We'll see. We'll see. I like sped run this through. It's like, I guess there are certain things, the site is on, but our flag is turned off here. So we're going to go ahead. This is what I'm like, I have to remember to connect the right environment. So comment, let's see if we grab the right SDK key, because that's where I'm like, we grabbed, or the right client side key. Right client side key production.
And so is it giving you this second layer of security here because it's marked as a release flag? Like, is there something I could turn on and off quicker?
It is. So if you wanted to change how it is set up, this is totally a safety setting. And this is actually something that's really fairly new in the terms of Launch Darkly. So if we go to, and I do believe I grabbed the wrong client side ID. This is what happens when you make messed not up. What did we miss? I actually don't think there is a flag key in here. Use flags. All right. It's not the flag key. So we got to get a flag key in there. But kind of going back to your question, which is blanking on that. Wow, your question was
It was the second layer. Are you sure you want to turn this off?
Oh,
I asked, is
yes.
that because it's a release flag?
Because it is a release flag, that's typically what it is, because you wouldn't want to just have everybody and their uncle doing that release. You can set it up so it's just one. The other cool thing that we have is if you want to click in here, we can change maintainers or even just different tags. Or if you wanted to do a release pipeline, meaning someone is going through a testing phase and it has to, you can set up like a release strategy. So you can set up different checkpoints. Like it needs to pass these tests. It needs to be in beta for this number of days. Even trickling it out when we start to move into this production phase, instead of releasing to everybody, you can release to just a small group or a testing group or a beta group or so on and so forth. So rather than just kind of being like, be free to the wind here.
Yeah.
Just kind of nice. So I'm going to pull up our React SDK and see. I bet I have an idea where we went wrong, because we're missing a, because see, this is where we're going to have the difference between our application. And I think we can wrap this up. And I know we're coming up on time here, so we'll see if we can bang this out within that time period. And we've got our flag here, but that's not quite working, because if you look, it's not quite, we're not having the, we don't have our beautiful, what is the client? We don't have the different parts of the materials kind of here. So we have our use effects. We're talking through it and doing it at the same time. Here is that surface, use flags. Flags, so we've got that popped up there. We don't have a context in here, so we've not set up a right context. So again, that's what we talked about, was like what enables the targeting, what enables all the kind of the more advanced features within Launch Darkly. And so, and this is what it would look like within, if we're using it within the index.js files. And so, wow. So I'm also kind of fascinated of like how they created, the AI created this React versus like it pulled partly from this documentation, but also partly from, sorry, that is very getting off of the topic here of all that fun stuff.
That's all right.
Yeah. So
similar vectors, I suppose.
Yeah, it's similar. I'm always just so curious. Like I have a whole theory of like where this would pull from in like how does this change how we do, this has been like a word vomit, I think, of moving forward, but like how does the development of AI change how we teach AI from here on out? Or teach even coding from here on out? Because like how many people aren't learning to code by like I mean, I learned off the No Starch Press books. Like that was my intro, but like I don't know if they doing things like that anymore with like, is anybody going to be doing that in 5 years?
Oh gosh,
Like I don't.
that's an interesting speculation. I saw a post on LinkedIn last night from my friend Ben, who posed the question. It was just an open question that asked, "Is AI or generative AI reducing the curiosity in developers, just in general?"
What? Oh, I don't want to cancel. No, I don't want to log out. Anywho, it's interesting. I'm curious if sorry, I'm now like playing around with this. So I've got my index file. I want to almost see what it pulls from. If
I
I
don't see
could pull
anywhere
it in.
where we've created the provider.
We have not created the, yeah, we've not created the async here. Oh no, it's right there. Import provider, and then constant there. Oh, we haven't probably added this line. Oopsie. We have to add in our new client side ID.
Well,
So it just goes.
that one's importing the one from the other tab in the docs that you're looking at.
Yeah. Well, we've got the exports. We need to import this one in at the top.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Just goes. Yeah. So I'm just gonna pull this in. No, this is why you shouldn't just use AI. Okay, so import with LD provider use flags. We want to pull this in. Shit. Can I swear on your live stream? Am I getting in trouble?
No, you're fine.
Good. And go back in to our beautiful app. I want to pull this in, use providers from our LaunchDarkly SDK. We're going to then render async, await async provider, client side ID. Copy that in. Bad secret management for the win, not for the win.
It's easy secret management.
Easy secret management. We don't need no end files, right?
That's right.
Who needs this? And then we can see where it's popping in a React strict mode. Yeah, this is an interesting. I don't normally. I'm like, oh, I use the JavaScript SDK all the time. Like, I'm not using the React one all the time. So we're doing this on YOLO mode. Let's see, use flags. All right, not wanting my feature flag there. We want it around our beautiful, terrifying. We're gonna wrap this baby. So we have our render. It's gonna ask us. It's gonna be like, hey, I know there's a syntax error. I know.
So while you do this, the way I understand LaunchDarkly to work, this in the context of what we're doing here, is when that provider initializes, it's fetching basically the entire set of flags down from your account, maybe in a multi-flag project. And what ultimately happens when you're turning flags on and off from either the console or wherever else that you do that, it is sending diffs, this changed, down to the connected providers. And that raises an event, and that is what changes the server or front end code. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's basically telling you what to read. It's like telling, like it'll go back, it'll fetch it back in, and it's only reading the parts there in that real time. So that's how you're getting that instant run through of it all. Does that
Okay.
sort of make
And
sense? That's
yeah,
that's how I always have to break it down myself.
no, that's all right. And one of the other things that I think is really interesting as well is that you guys, at least you used to, I don't know if you still do, use server sent events for that real time push.
Still do. So still doing it on that side of things, still making it so if you have any sort of interruption on that server or any other interruption on any sort of other activity, that it can be gone without, like, you don't have to worry about like, oh crap, are we disconnected from the internet? Oh crap, like what are those larger issues happening? And that also allows it, like if we have if you ever need to do like wow, I'm forgetting the name of what it's called, because I swear when you get on a live stream your brain like loses half of this stuff. But if you do need to, for whatever reason, obscure a little bit more of the data, so like we do have that context that'll pull in either from another another tool that you're using. So if you're using from Twilio Segment or kind of other business intelligence tool, you can obscure that if you need to. Relay proxy, that's the name of it. So there is an existing relay proxy that can be used.
It's interesting. I think the choice to use server send events was a really smart one, and not one that a lot of people make because that's not really a heavily used protocol for real-time notifications. Now, let's say for people that are listening, it's similar to WebSockets if you want to think about functionality, but it is limited to server to client. It's not bidirectional like WebSockets are. WebSockets, you can do client to server and server down to client. But another thing that's interesting about it is that it's text only. You can send binary data over WebSockets. You can send binary data over things like gRPC or other persistent connections. But server send events is HTTP text only one way. So it's a really neat use case because it makes complete sense with the data that you're sending over.
So I have a very fun example. This reminds me of a very fun project. We're going to actually pop over here because what you said, I was like, there's a really good example of this here. This is a very silly sentiment analysis app that we've used our AI model flags on to completely switch gears here. But you'll be able to see it in just a second. So this is what the app looked like on the back end, but you'll notice I don't have there's no model definition here. Like I've not specified this is a app that does feature sentiment analysis. And so I don't have any models defined. I just was like, cool, get model config. And I've told that to happen within LaunchDarkly. So none of it is happening here within the code itself. It is all happening within LaunchDarkly. So you can completely customize that JSON or whatever input you're doing. So what it looks like, sorry, you got me really excited about showing off the text-based. To pull you in another direction.
That's fine. I'm interested.
Hope other people are interested. We'll get back to our chaos in a second. Let's see. No, I don't want the demo account. I want. How many different LaunchDarkly accounts do I have? This is the question of the day. The answer is too many.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some witty thing when with like developer advocate and a number of accounts, but didn't come to me fast enough.
It's like I have too many accounts, and it's like the other fun thing is like I will always run into, like, as you're saying, like I have a bunch of different it's accounts plus copy link address, like random code samples from how, like, I'm like, oh, today I'm doing 17 different, like just today alone, I'm like, I'm apparently doing Next, apparently doing some React. I've been in Python today, and I'm like, wow, this is the context switching of my brain is, Lord help.
The developer's worst nightmare.
Yeah. So if we can pop into the sentiment analysis space, we'll see here. This is just the back end of what that featured flag looks like. But you can see rather than in our, I don't even know if this will load now because it's like, oh, I'm in a different browser. We're in a private browser. We're good. Oh, here. It's telling me like you logged in on another account. So it kicks me out. But all that to say, I've got the 4 different variations here of like Bert based uncased, Roberta based, Distilbert based uncased, Albert based V2. Those are all just different models. And I can go ahead and click in and see all of the different variations here that we've
Oh,
got.
nice.
So, but I'm controlling all of my configuration within LaunchDarkly, not like, again, let's split screen this. Beep, beep, beep. Mm-hmm. So if we've got all of this fun here, we can see I have 0 model here. I'm just using basically placeholders. I'm like, use model, have a great time. Like, or this is just the text. So that's our beautiful perks of Streamlit and Python is you don't have to worry about a front end. But I'm not, it'll tell you like, if like you, for whatever reason, if something happens and you're not reading it or you got disconnected or use it, it'll default to this Distilbert based uncase. But like, other than that, everything I'm controlling the temperature, I'm controlling the tokens, the length of the input. I'm doing that all within LaunchDarkly, not my actual application itself, which is kind of nice. So
Yeah,
if we want to go
that's
ahead
really
and
nice. And you could
change,
use, I mean, you could do something like this if you're building, let's just say a SaaS app where you have different tiers of accessibility, really. Like you have your free tier
mm-hmm.
down to, whatever instant model is that costs nothing to run. And then your premium members can get access to, Sonnet 3.5 or whatever it was. I guess Opal was a pretty expensive one there for a minute.
Yeah,
Opus,
this is, let's see. Believe in serverless is awesome. We'll run it. Let's see if it gives us one. I'm running on free models right now because this is open to the public. So if you want to go run it 10,000 times, it's going to be like, it's still going to run. Wow, my internet's like, we do not like streaming. And it's like, wow. So you can see I'm using a really crappy free model. This is why models are expensive. It's like, apparently that's a negative sentiment, but YOLO. And there's a tutorial on how to do this, but if we want to change our default variation, we can go ahead, we can edit this. I want to change it to, it's using the Roberta base one. Let's do Bert base uncased. We can save that. We'll see that same safety regulations here. So it's going, it's saving. Holy cow, my internet. Let's go. I did not know. I did not want to close my tab. I wanted to just refresh that. So refresh here. And I'm going to be like, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me. It's going to say we have that model changed.
Yep.
And it says now we're up to neutral.
It's better.
So it's better. We're getting there, but I know we're up on time now. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming in and talking about LaunchDarkly, showing us how to implement it. I like this use case is really, really neat. And I think it is applicable to, well, the first one that we were going through is applicable to all of us as well, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, what's going to happen is I'm going to get off this. I'm now going to be annoyed at myself and I'm going to be like, this is why you don't use AI for this kind of stuff. We'll go back and we'll make it happen. And you'll be now getting a Naked and Afraid fan page from me. So that's what's going to happen there. But we'll make it all work.
Yes, I will share that in the Believe in Serverless Discord and everyone will see it and be amazed and love it.
Yeah, and if there's anything I can do to help out, I'm happy to jump in. I don't know if I'm in the Believe in Serverless Discord, so I'll have to jump in and come in and hang out with the fun there. And thank you, Ian, for tuning in and thinking through it all that much, and Jonathan and Andres.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, some good engagement here. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. If anybody watching has not joined the Discord, we have a lot of chat, a lot of discussion going on there. You can join at any time. Believein serverless.com/community, and that will route you straight to the Discord. So
And
as
yeah,
simple as
thank
I can
you.
make it.
Honestly, like, thank you, because I've caught a couple of these like on replay, and it's always like I always love listening to like the live stream and whatnot on replay in the background. So thank you so much for having me and providing like a fun little learning environment, because I know I've enjoyed listening to y'all in the background.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Really happy to have you on. And I guess we will see you at reInvent. Hopefully we'll see you before then.
Yeah,
But
I'll see you hopefully
thank you.
before then. If you're in the New York area, come say hi. I'm glad that we can now also, we have you have a chicken in your VS Code now. Makes my day so much better. So
On my VS Code.
amazing. We love that.
So much fun. All right. Thank you, Erin. And we will talk to you later. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
All right. Sounds good. Later.